For this session, so Alan from Alipay will do some introduction about IFAA. What is IFAA? Does anybody know here? So IFAA stands for Internet Finance Authentication Alliance. So this alliance is mainly for the biometric authentication. So when you use Alipay to pay the money, you know, IFAA is there. It makes sure that your payment is secure. So let's welcome Alan.
Thank you, Jamie. My name is Alan Xin, and my Chinese name is Xin Zhi. I'm from Alipay. For the people who don't know what is Alipay, Alipay is probably the biggest mobile payment solutions in China, also in the world. So today I'm talking. My topic were related to IFAA, but I will not talk IFAA at the very first beginning. First, I will bring up the issue, bring up the problem. So what is the problem? The problem is nowadays when we do the payment, what kind of authentication we are using? The most popular way is using the password, of course. And also something like a short message, OTP, right? And someone used some hardware token like Yudun, right? And also fingerprint, such kind of biometric authentication ways. But for the traditional ways, what the risk of them? For the password is easy to forget, to leak, because user usually they always use the same password for a lot of websites, for a lot of applications, right? And one of them is hijacked or be attacked, and your password is leaked, and it can be used for all kind of websites. And it's already become it already caused a lot of damage today. And also for the short message today, there's a lot of children hearts. They are target for message to hijack your message and to get your code. And also for the other things like bank card and your security questions, those things can be sold right now in the dark market. It can be bought with maybe less than one RMB. You can buy it. A lot of people's personal information can buy in the dark market today. So it's not safe. And for authentication, what is today's most how to say the cutting edge technology? We believe that is the biometric, because as you know, password has those weaknesses which I have mentioned, and for the token like Yudun, it's hard to take. You can ask your users when you do the mobile payment, you bring another hardware device. It's human just don't do that, right? So for biometric, that's part of you. For a fingerprint, your face, your iris, just part of you. So you don't afraid to be forget or get lost. So that is the very good. It will give you a great user experience and also low frequent interact. But before we using this biometric authentication for payment, what's the risk? We should analyze the risk first. So the first thing is we should not pass or transfer the user's personal biometric data to server, right? Because it belongs to user. We should keep it on your device. That's very private and personal data. That's the first rule. And it brings a question: if we keep it on your device, on your phone, how we protect it, right? When you just restore those information on your phone, it can be hacked in many ways, as I have indirected in these pictures. When the sensor gets image, it can be hijacked by the Trojan horse. When you get the original template, it can be leaked, right? And also, if you down with those images, do the verification, how do you get this result to your server to complete this transaction? That's all kind of issues. So before we do the payment, we should analyze those things. But how we can solve it? For Alipay, we use TE and also IFAA standard, IFAA protocol to solve this issue. Start with 2050 is 2 years ago, and for now it's 3 years ago. And we keep all kind of biometric data and those logic, those code inside the TE. And those code and keys we have been used, it all pre-installed in your device before it sells to the users. We cooperate with all kind of OEMs. Like everybody knows, there's Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, Samsung, and we support 36 brands. It's basically all kind of OEMs you have known, and we use a lot of different capability of TE to support it. The first one is also the isolation, right? We can keep the key, your personal data, and our code in an isolated environment to keep it safe. And also, we can store those keys in a secure storage. Also, maybe use the secure location, because today there's a lot of hackers. They get your account and they log in your account in a very different, maybe a very far place to want to spend it. If we can get the correct location, we can find those kind of risks. But also the hackers, usually they change the location of the device. They want to bypass your detection. But if you can get the correct location, you can ignore that. So that's also a very important feature. And also the security camera, because now the camera can do a lot of different things, like get your face, right? For face recognition, maybe use face for payment. And later it can also do some AR things. So it's very important to get secure data from the camera before it can be changed. So for Alipay, we have been used those kind of capabilities for a long time. It's probably the most important user scenarios for TE today. Because except for payment, you can say it can be used for DRM, for I don't know, some kind of enterprise user scenario, but that's not quite popular for now. But for payment, we have used this kind of standard or tag. We have served almost it's 190 million users today. So it's probably the most useful user scenarios. And come back to IFAA. As I have mentioned that if we want to do those, if we want to use that TE to help us to secure all kind of this chain, we have to cooperate with a lot of companies. And in this cooperation, we build up an alliance called the Internet Finance Authentication Alliance. The mission is to provide secure and easy to use identity authentication service that can be accessed easily. So back to the 2050, there's 6 companies. They found this alliance together for Ant Financial, Alibaba, Huawei, Samsung, ZTE, and CAICT. And nowadays we have more than 160 members. It include all kind of OEMs. You know that it's Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and also all the chip vendors like Qualcomm, MTK, Intel, Spreadtrum, and also we have secure OS vendors like Trustonic, and there's also the fingerprint sensors vendors, iris sensors vendors, face algorithm vendors. Those kind of players, they all in this. They all join IFA to working together to hope to enable more novel authentication for payment. So that's how this alliance works. Now, how we now for today's status, we have been used this kind of standards to support. As I have mentioned, it's more than 190 million users. It's from Alipay's data, and also it can support more than 230 device models. Basically, right now in China market, you buy any kind of smartphone, if it supports fingerprint, it supports IFA standard. That's how popular this standard is. And potentially they have, we expect that there will be 700 million devices that is that has been pre-installed the IFA standards. Maybe some users haven't enabled it, but it's all been there. And also for Alipay, we have observed that is 35% of transaction is already supported by fingerprint. Our users, once it's open and register this payment, this fingerprint payment, they don't go back. They just feel they say that just we don't need to remember the password, and it's quick and safe. So it's actually it's quite successful product. And for this page, I want to talk a little bit about this standard or protocol. Basically, it's two-side and authentication protocol. When you sign something from the server to the device, you should verify the signature first. Also, if you send something from the device to the server, you also has to be verified. So you can use those keys to do the verification and the signature. Also, in the TE, I have mentioned that there is an IFA authenticator and hardware device ID has been installed inside, and it's not a Android level software provider. Also, the SE, the secure element, is part of this protocol. And for the server side, we have the authentication centers, which is charged for the when a request or response come to the server, we verify this message, say it has been changed or not, to keep integrated. And for all the device, it had to be verified to be a legal device first before they can be used. So basically, through this protocol, we have built a security channel between your device and server. And we can use this security channel to pass a lot of different things, like the verification result of your biometric authentication. As I have mentioned, we don't pass the biometric data itself. We pass the authentication result in the security channel. And if some malware has changed the result, we can find it on the server. So that's basically the most valuable part of this protocol. For like 2 years development, now it's not only used by Alipay and applications in Alibaba. It's also is open standards for more applications. You can imagine that some kind of bank or if their account is very valuable and if you want to keep the account data and use the biometric authentication on the device, it all fits this kind of protocol. And as I have mentioned that we have used this. If you use IFAA standard, you can probably all of the internet users can use it today in China market especially. So it's popular status, and you don't have to worry about part of the device is not support, part of the device is support. That's not an issue actually. This is the applications I want to mention that is already enabled, and most of them come from Alibaba Group, and part of them is not, like Pudong Development Bank, and it's a bank, and it's not related to Alibaba at all. So they find that this tag can benefit their payments, so they decide to use it. And also, like Suning and Shanghai say, it's kind of a government government company, and they used to serve a lot of different governments. So, but they find that it's necessary to use such kind of secure protocol to support them. So, so here I want to mention is that it's not only used by us; it's also become popular for other applications. And so for here we have seen that what's the problem for you to use if you want to use a biometric authentication on your device. What kind of threat you will be facing, and how IFAA standard is close. We working with a lot of different companies for the whole industry chain to solve this issue, and also it's not only for Alipay, it's can open to other applications. That's basically the things I have mentioned. And now for today's IFAA, it's support. You can say it's for one kind of authentication. Not only for fingerprint, it's the most popular one, and it's a TE-based security standards. And it's only support China market's device. And we have some example code, and maybe some smartwatch can also support this protocol. But in the future, we are looking for more biometric methods can be used, like face. Actually, since last year, Apple has launched the Face ID. All the Android ecosystem OEMs are working on this part. You want to see, I want my own Face ID, right? And those kind of things is we are working on. And I guess we can say that those kind of solutions in the second half of this year. And for now it's only for TE, but later we are looking for maybe MCU for the IoT device. It's also SE. And also, not only in China market, we hope that this standard can be support to the overseas, especially in Asian market. Because we do have some impact on Asian market, like in India's Paytm, in Indonesia it's Dana, and a lot of e-commerce, those e-wallets can use such kind of technology. And we can import all kind of application. Well, looking for maybe later can support IoT devices for, but we'll figure out how to do this part. So as a summary is that we are this grow up from Alipay as a payment standard, as authentication standard, basically used for payment, but it can be a lot of different scenarios, and it can be used a lot of different applications, and we are open to see that to be happen. Okay, thank you.
Question?
It's a general question. So, because we are the ARM server ecosystem day, so what's the relationship between this IFAA and the ARM ecosystem?
ARM ecosystem? As I have mentioned that if in current standards, we heavily use TE, right? And TE, trust zone, is ARM's IP or whatever. It's ARM's architecture, and so that's the basic connections. Basically, those kind of authentications heavily depend on the hardware capability, security capability, especially. So that's the connection, and with this kind of connection and cooperation, finally we can do the authentication for payment. So, to your question.
Yeah, so basically, the authentication is done by hardware, right? So.
Yeah, of course, it's
Yeah.
done by the sensor, and
Yeah.
there's some kind of comparison algorithm on your device.
Yeah. And for current TE, it depends on the trust zone, and we also needed to add some embedded secure element.
Yeah, it can be
For
supported.
hardware security.
Some kind of security information was
Stored
in the hardware.
stored in the TE, in the TE environment.
Yeah, let me answer this question in another way. Say, all the hardware ecosystem are working on security solutions, right? But where is the user scenarios? This is the biggest one, to your question.
So that counts.
Any other questions? Okay, yeah, right.
So, to support facial recognition, so do you do any inference in secure world with TE? So, and if yes, so does that impact the performance of the overall system?
For the standard, we only define interface, and for Alipay we don't develop any. At the very beginning, we do have some inference implementation, but nowadays it's all done by the OEMs. And for the performance part, we have some kind of certificate to say at least you should like 200 milliseconds to be down. If you lower than that, it's not acceptable. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So my understanding is every phone before it gets sold, right? The OEM get a key from the CA and then put into the secure storage on the phone before it can be sold.
Yeah, on the manufacturing lines.
And the manufacturing line.
Yeah.
So then how do you trust the phone's firmware does the right thing? It's not a malicious firmware that like a Trojan horse that just send a yes to you, right?
Yeah.
How your server trust?
That is a good question. Actually, we don't have such kind of ways to find, because if the device is burns with malware, I guess anything is you can't do. It's hard to find. Actually, it's the downside, the low layer, or maybe in OS or something. If the OEM is to do that, kind of things. For application, it's hard to find. It's
right, but then you can do something like ISO certification kind of thing, that you certify the OEM's manufacturing process, firmware certification process.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
That's the ultimate thing you can do, right? Otherwise, you have to trust them.
Right, right.
And then that could be a problem. If most of OEM will do the best they can, but some are capable than others, then the ones that does not have the full security measures, that they may be taking advantage by the bad guys, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's true. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So thanks, Alan.